Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Arizona.
The Western landscape at home here in the desert. It's been the Western Division coming into Chase Field so far. First the Giants, and this weekend it's those LA Dodgers in here for three. Brett Anderson and Chase Anderson, first pitching matchup between starters with the same last name in nearly 3 years, and it's here now on Fox Sports Arizona Plus. Good evening from Chase Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthume, Bob Brenly along the way. First of three between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers. And LA comes in here with one of the hottest hitters in baseball history. No player had ever hit 5 home runs through his team's first 3 games, Bob, until Adrian Gonzalez did it this week for LA.
Every player tries to get off to a good start every season, but are you kidding me, Agon? This guy is in some kind of heat right now. Now, granted, he's had some real hittable pitches, but when you're locked in the way a good hitter like Adrian Gonzalez can get locked in at the plate, those mistakes tend to end up in the bleachers.
And he's taken advantage of some pitching mistakes by the Diamondbacks in his tenure facing Arizona. You'll look at the numbers career for Adrian Gonzalez in this ballpark. He can do a lot of damage.
Oh, man, 20 home runs in 65 career games, driving in nearly a run per game, averaging a home run every 3 games. So stats would tell you we'll probably see him hit one in this series.
So it's a tall order tonight for Diamondback starter Chase Anderson. Chase's first start of the year so far. The key here, go deep into the game, right? Diamondbacks have only had one starting pitcher go longer than 5. 2 guys didn't even make it there.
Yeah, and Chase Anderson, a guy that last year had some issues getting deep in the game. You'd like to see him really be economical with his pitches early in the game and hopefully get past that 5-inning mark and give that bullpen a little bit of a rest after the off day.
Yeah, you can see the rocky start for the Diamondbacks rotation so far, an ERA of over 8.
Yeah, it's been a problem throughout baseball. I think the starters maybe don't get stretched out quite as much as they should. Chase Anderson's opposite number tonight, Brett Anderson, only had 1 outing where he went 6 innings in spring training.
So we are set for first pitch here on Fox Sports Arizona Plus. It's Chase at Chase. It's Anderson versus Anderson. It's Diamondbacks baseball coming up next. Baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich.
It's Friday night, and it's all about keeping up with the Andersons. As Chase Anderson makes his season debut for the Diamondbacks going up against the Dodgers, Brett Anderson. And Chase is hoping that history will repeat. I'm Kate Longworth, counting you down to first pitch. Chase Anderson last year in his home debut got the W over the bad guys. That's right, he took the win over the Dodgers, and tonight he's hoping for more of the same. In order to do that, though, he's going to have to go the distance. The Diamondbacks starters have been struggling as of late, and they're depending on Chase Anderson and his 6-3 record here at Chase Field over the last 11 home starts. Chase hoping to go deep, hoping to get his pitches right, and Mike Harkey believing he has what it takes to do that. The good news for the team is that with the off day yesterday, the bullpen, they are rested. Everyone aside from Hudson is available. So now it's time to just sit back and see how this will play out. Now, if you're not focused on that Anderson matchup, you're going to get a look at the premier first baseman in this one. It's Gonzalez versus Goldschmidt. Whose bat will be hotter? Only time will tell. We're counting you down to first pitch. Stay with us.
He made his major league debut last year on Mother's Day in Chicago, and that day went 5 1/3 two-hit ball against the White Sox, and in fact went on to win his first 5 major league starts. He's on the mound against Brett Anderson. As Bob, it's our first look at the LA Dodgers, first of 3 here over the weekend.
Yeah, Dodgers coming in hot off that series against San Diego. You have to hope that off day maybe took a little the wind out of their sails, because they were feeling pretty good about themselves, especially their big first baseman, Adrian Gonzalez.
5 home runs through his team's first 3 games. The Diamondbacks went 4-15 against the Dodgers in the season series last year. They've lost 5 straight versus LA, dating back to last August. Your Arizona Ford starting pitcher, a successful rookie season for Chase Anderson last year. After coming up from AA Mobile in early May, 9 wins in 21 starts, a 4.01 ERA. And we've seen this time after time. Chase Anderson's game day ritual as he takes the mound. He begins every start by drawing initials in the pitcher's mound dirt, RDA, for his late father Robert, who passed away just before spring training a few years ago. Also the initials of 2 grandparents. He says there are moments out there when he feels like his dad is right there on his shoulder.
A great piece by Jody Jackson in the pregame show today, documenting all the things that Chase does to honor his late father.
Jimmy Rollins, the new Dodger shortstop, in there. We are underway in downtown Phoenix. New look to the Dodgers this year, and J-Roll is part of that. The former Philly, 46 career leadoff home runs, so be careful here. Only Ricky Henderson, Alfonso Soriano, and Craig Biggio have hit more homers from the leadoff spot. And two of those guys are in the Hall of Fame. Biggio goes in this summer. And there is Gonzalez. He'll bat third in this inning.
Now the power from Jimmy Rollins comes when pitchers make mistakes from the middle of the plate in. He does have good pull power, especially right down that right field line. From the left side of the plate, if you pitch him up and out over, you get a lot of lazy fly balls to the opposite field.
2 balls and a strike. Jimmy Rollins, 15 years in the big leagues, all with the Philadelphia Phillies, where he won 4 Gold Gloves, went to 3 All-Star games, and won the NL MVP award in 2007. You will not find a more beautiful night for baseball than what we have here tonight at Chase. Lifted in the air to left field, Ender Inciarte. One away. Let's take a look at the Diamondbacks around Chase Anderson. It's our mid-first bank starting defense.
Well, we know Ender Inciarte's in left field. A.J. Pollock will flank him in center. Mark Trumbo over in right. It'll be Hill and Ahmed on the left side of the infield. Chris Owings and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Tuffy Gosewish doing the catching for right-hander Chase Anderson.
And young middle infield combo. Nick Ahmed at shortstop and Chris Owings. Hopefully we'll see a little COD tonight at second base.
Now, just in case you missed it while I was giving the Diamondbacks defense, Yasiel Puig got booed.
And here he is. First pitch is fouled back. Well, he's had a quiet start to his season. 1 hit in 12 at bats so far. He has struck out 4 times.
Let's keep it that way for 3 more days, because we know what a dangerous not only hitter but player this guy can be when he is plugged into the rhythm of the game.
Tuffy Gosewish sets up down and away. Puig chases it and fouls it off quickly. It's 0-2. Well, he's just a .239 career hitter against the Diamondbacks, but he does have 5 homers versus Arizona. Last year, .296, 16 home runs, 37 doubles, 9 triples in there.
He's only 1 for 6 lifetime against Chase Anderson going into this at bat with 4 punch-outs last season. Chase really had him baffled with that straight changeup.
Fastball down and away. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Puig an all-star for the first time last year, despite a second-half swoon offensively. He hit just 4 home runs after the all-star break. Again, down and away. Breaking ball, he chases and misses. 2 up, 2 down. And here comes Gonzalez.
Tuffy wants that ball down, down, down. Good curveball right down in that location. Ankle high, gets the swing and a miss from Puig. And now you've got the luxury of perhaps pitching around Adrian Gonzalez.
Howie Kendrick is the on-deck hitter.
You retire those guys ahead of him, it gives you some options. That .769 is not a typo. That's his batting average in the early going this year.
And the Diamondbacks with Andy Green in the dugout go into the defensive overshift against Gonzalez. 10 for 13 so far on the season. 5 home runs and 7 RBIs. Hard to imagine a better start to a year. According to Elias, the first player in Major League Baseball history with 5 home runs through his team's first 3 games of the year. There's a strike, 1-1. He's got 7 extra base hits, including the 5 homers. And the funny thing is, he hit barely over .220 in spring training this year.
Adrian Gonzalez, one of those veteran guys. If you talk to him during the Cactus League, he would probably have told you, well, you know, when the bell rings, I'll be ready. I feel good physically. I may not be getting my hits in the Cactus League, but when the bell rings, I'll be ready. I've never actually heard that bell, but apparently Adrian Gonzalez did.
He shoots it the other way down the left field line, heading away from the shift, and Adrian Gonzalez, a very slow base runner, will settle for a 2-out single.
Second baseman, number 47.
It's tough. You want to be careful with him. You don't want to get behind in the count either.
Yeah, it almost feels like a victory, though. You kept him in the ballpark. A 2-out single to the opposite field right there. If you can get Adrian Gonzalez swinging to the opposite field in this entire series, you're going to have a pretty good chance of maintaining or rather minimizing the damage that he can do.
Howie Kendrick, the new Dodger second baseman. Looks at ball one. This is Kendrick's 10th big league season, his first outside the Angels organization. Acquired by the Dodgers last December for pitcher Andrew Heaney. And off to a good start so far, 5 for 12. A double and a triple in there. Chase Anderson last year tied for the National League rookie lead in wins, second among NL rookies in starts and strikeouts. 9 wins in those 21 starts. He's ahead of Kendrick, 1-2. And Chase is learning how to survive in this division, at least here in this ballpark. He is 5-1 in his last 6 home starts against the NL West. Nice to strand Gonzalez here and have a nice clean first inning. Right by Davey Lopes at first. This is the lineup for Don Mattingly's LA Dodger.
We've seen Jimmy Rollins at the top. Yasiel Puig struck out in his first at bat. Gonzalez with the opposite field hit. Howie Kendrick doing battle right now. Yasmani Grandal will be doing the catching. Carl Crawford out in left field. Juan Uribe at third base. Youngster Jock Peterson in center field. And Brett Anderson, the lefty, on the mound.
Chase misses there. It's 2-2. That current lineup of Dodgers starters batting a collective 170 against Chase Anderson so far in his career, so he's had some luck against this group. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Gonzalez the runner at first. This is away and it's full, 3-2. The new catcher Yasmani Grandal is on deck. He would be next. Chase so far about to throw his 20th pitch of this inning, has been behind in the count most of the night so far. Gonzalez on the move, ball 4. 2 on, 2 out for Grandal.
Catcher number 9, Yasmani Grandal.
For Chase Anderson, like a lot of other pitchers at any level, fastball command is key. If he can keep that fastball out of the middle of the plate but yet still throw strikes on the corners, that really sets up that straight changeup and curveball combination.
Yasmani Grandal hitless in 5 at bats to begin the year, but he has walked 3 times this season. Acquired from San Diego last December in the Matt Kemp deal. And he looks at strike 1. A switch hitter Grandal, much better from the left-hand side. Hit all of his 15 home runs last year as a lefty. A lot of fastballs from Chase so far in this first inning. Always important for him to establish that pitch and then work off it with the changeup and the curveball. But the key in establishing that fastball, as Bob mentioned, got to locate it, throw it for strikes. Hasn't done that so far. So far 11 balls, 12 strikes. There's a strike, 2-2. Chris Conroy, the plate umpire.
changeup. Probably didn't want to throw it on that side of the plate, that dangerous down and in area to a left-handed hitter, but put it in a spot that just froze Grandal that time.
And he gets the strikeout in strands two. Chase and Chase. Dodgers scoreless in the first. Diamondbacks coming up here on Fox Sports Arizona. Back at Chase Field, A.J. Pollock set to lead it off against our Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Dodgers. It's the lefty Brett Anderson for a scouting report. Here's Mark Trumbo.
Faced him in Oakland. Then we faced him in Colorado again last year. So have some familiarity with what he does. But you know, he's obviously a quality arm and a quality left-handed pitcher. And you know, it's up to us to put together a nice game plan against him.
An outstanding pitcher when he's healthy. The problem for Brett Anderson has been he's just never healthy. He made his big league debut with Oakland on this same date back in '09. He was originally a D-backs draft pick, second round in 2006. And now with LA on a one-year $10 million deal. He signed last December after making, as you just saw there, only 8 starts with the Rockies last year. That was his only season in Colorado after 5 years in Oakland. When Anderson is healthy, which is rare, he hasn't pitched more than 84 innings in a season since 2010. He's very good. And when he's at his best, he can be a ground ball machine.
His arsenal, really nothing off the charts. You mentioned the ground ball rate. That's because of the heavy sinking two-seam fastball. Also mixes in a slider. Occasional curveball, occasional straight changeup, but when he's at his best, he can get by with just the slider and the two-seam fastball. Everything down, down, down in the zone.
3-1 to A.J. Pollock. Now it's full. Anderson, a career ground ball percentage that's just over 56%. He's able to generate a lot of ground ball outs and does a very good job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. A.J. 1 for 9 to open the season. By Dave McKay at first. And there's Scott Chan, our Golden Glover, down the right field line. This is the lineup for Chip Hale's Arizona Diamondbacks.
A.J. Pollock at the top, as you can clearly see, leading it off here. Chip Hale's going to send Ender Inciarte, Paul Goldschmidt, Mark Trumbo. We'll catch up with you just in a moment here.
3-2 pitch. Drives it to right field. Puig at the track.
Promised a lineup. Here's the lineup. A.J. Pollock with a long fly ball to Puig in right to get his start for the D-backs. Ender Inciarte making his way to the plate. He'll be out in left field. Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Mark Trumbo in right field. Aaron Hill getting the nod at third base tonight against a tough lefty. Chris Owings at shortstop. Tuffy Gosowich doing the catching. Nick Ahmed at shortstop. And Chase Anderson on the mound.
And as Chip Hale has said, against most left-hand pitchers, Ender Inciarte would be the starting left fielder ahead of David Peralta, because Ender does very well against lefties. Uribe comes in deep at third as Inciarte shows bunt. And Ender says when he's up there facing a lefty, which is a tough matchup for a lot of left-hand hitters, he just tries to make sure that he lets the ball travel more, so he's able to hit it somewhere up the middle and drive it the other way to left field or left center. So he's always thinking against lefties, make sure to stay middle away and then lay off those nasty sliders from tough left-hand pitchers.
That's a great approach for a guy with his speed. He's already shown bunt a couple times in this at bat. Has Juan Uribe drawn way in on the grass at third. So yeah, look for a pitch away, let it get deep in the zone, and shoot it right by him.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Always hear that a lot from some hitters. I like to let the ball travel, let the ball get deep.
You just, you know, everything is relative, but for a hitter, a matter of tenths of a second of tracking that ball into the hitting zone, it makes all the difference in the world. You don't get fooled by off-speed pitches. You may occasionally be a tad tardy on a good fastball, but if your approach is to drive the ball to the opposite field, you're not going to get fooled by off-speed pitches. You may have to battle some fastballs from time to time, but use the whole field.
Reaches out and pokes it back to the mound. Anderson sets and throws. 2 up, 2 down. Here comes Goldie. This is the Dodger lineup around their pitcher. Our mid-first bank starting defense for LA.
That figures to be a much improved defense. Carl Crawford in left, Jock Peterson in center, Yasiel Puig in right, Juan Uribe at third base, Jimmy Rollins and Howie Kendrick take up the double play combo up the middle. Adrian Gonzalez at first base, Yasmani Grandal behind the plate for lefty Brett Anderson.
And the Dodgers last year were a horror show defensively up the middle, and they are vastly improved. At least we expect they will be with that new combo. In fact, they're new all the way up the middle. Grandal behind home plate, the former Padre. Rollins at shortstop, the Philly. Kendrick at second, the Angel, and rookie Jock Peterson in center. A ball and a strike to Goldie.
Yeah, the fine analyst for the Dodgers and former Dodger great for that matter, Ora Hershiser, was talking about it before the ball game in reference to Jock Peterson. Last year they had a bunch of guys play center field. This year they have a center fielder.
Chopper, and it's under Uribe at third. Goldie isn't looking. He might have had a chance to get an extra bag up there, but I think Dave McKay was telling him just stay here. But it did roll up that left field line a ways. Took a big chop and then kind of died under Uribe's glove.
I'm not sure exactly what he was doing right there. It looked like he was going to try to make a barehanded play, and at the last instant let it go like he thought it might be going foul. That ball was there by 10 feet.
Goldie head down all the way here. So the D-backs have a 2-out base runner. Here's Mark Trumbo. Mark 2 for 12 to open up the season. The 2 hits, of course, are triples. And as he mentioned at the very top of this inning, he's seen Brett Anderson before from their American League West days. And Mark, a 3-4-11 career hitter against Brett Anderson, including a home run. A ball and a strike. To shortstop, Rollins, Kendrick for the force on Goldie, and that's the inning. We are through 1, no score at Chase Field. No score as we start the second inning. The Dodgers and the D-backs. Hey fans, customize your own ticket pack this season with the D-backs 4-game mini plan. And you get to choose your games. You can choose from the biggest matchups, holiday or giveaway games like the Goldie Cap, April 25th, courtesy of Sanderson Ford. Choose any 4 games online at dbacks.com. There is a strategy involved in there when you're picking your 4-game mini plan. You pick a bobblehead night, pick a fireworks night, pick some big games against a team you might want to see. It's all up to you. dbacks.com. Say cheese. 0-1 to Carl Crawford. That one buzzed the tower. A ball and a strike. Carl Crawford 4 for 10 so far. A pair of hits in the Dodgers game Wednesday night. He's got a 10-game hitting streak dating back to last year. And he's hit safely in 6 straight games here at Chase. They are moving Crawford around in there. It's 2-1. There was a dust-up between these two teams at a game in Glendale a few weeks ago. Several Diamondbacks were ejected, including manager Chip Hale. Mark Trumbo got hit on the hand in the first inning of that ball game. And then Daniel Hudson, who was the Diamondback starter, plunked Justin Turner the following half inning. And they kind of went back and forth there. Aaron Hill got knocked right on his tuchus. Can I say that?
Tuchus, absolutely.
Sure. I just did. Crawford.
So did I.
That's 3 strikeouts for Chase Anderson, 1 down. Anyway, it kind of much ado about nothing. There was certainly no incidents, but it did set a tone.
Yeah, it's just funny how when other teams hit Diamondbacks hitters, it was an accident. He wasn't trying to hit him, but boy, if a Diamondbacks pitcher knocks a guy down, all of a sudden it's
those
national
Diamondbacks.
alarm.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, we're just playing baseball.
Let's hope that's the case. Juan Uribe, strike 1. Now Chase is up there throwing strikes. His 15th season in the big leagues, 1 for 9 to start this one. His 5th with the Dodgers. Anderson ahead 0-2. Juan Uribe first 2 seasons in LA were just a washout offensively. But the last 2 he's been very productive, a .295 batting average last 2 seasons. 21 homers, just over 100 RBIs. Able to hold up there, and it's 1-2. Had a good year last year. Hit .311, 9 homers. It's a tough out. That's out of play. Uribe, though, struggled in the postseason last year, 2 for 17 in the NLCS against the Cardinals, and that's become a pattern. He went 3 for 23 versus St. Louis in the NLCS 2 years ago. Dodgers just cannot get past those Cardinals in the playoffs. Two Hopper to Nick Ahmed, long throw, and it's in time. 2 up, 2 down in the second. Nick Ahmed at shortstop.
That was a nice play because of Nick's ability to get on top of that throw. Even though he's running to his right in the hole between short and third, he's still able to get his arm up on top of the ball, gets a lot of carry on that awkward throw, and gets it across there in time to get Uribe.
And here's a guy that Diamondback fans will see a lot of in the coming years. Jock Peterson, the rookie center fielder, 2 for 10 to start the season. He is prone to striking out. He's got 5 strikeouts in 10 at bats so far, and the Diamondbacks go into a little bit of more of a shade than a shift here. That's a word Tony La Russa likes to use. Shade guys this way or that.
You got Aaron Hill way off the line at third with Nick Ahmed shading up the middle of the field. The right side pretty much straight away.
And he hits into the shift. Chris Owings, there's some COD. And Chase Anderson works a 1-2-3 second. Chris Owings at second base keeps it scoreless. D-backs gone up. Bottom second here in downtown Phoenix. Aaron Hill leads off the Diamondbacks second against lefty Brett Anderson. Aaron getting the start at third base against another left-hander here. And batting fifth. He's had a good start despite the quiet spring. He's another guy that answered the bell. 4 for 9 so far. And if you're wondering what's the deal with Jake Lamb, well, Chip Hale said before the game you've got a lefty here tonight in Anderson. Another one tomorrow in Kershaw. Aaron Hill drives this to right field. Yasiel Puig. So once you get by Anderson and Kershaw, the back-to-back lefties, it's a long stretch of right-hand pitchers, and so they want Aaron Hill to get some at-bats here over the weekend. This happened a moment ago, and this is where the 5-second rule comes into play.
Well, they're not eating the bread anyway. That's just straight ballpark steak.
Look at her. Really? Really? The little girl played that for, yeah, sure, here you go. Yeah. No problem.
No worries.
Here's Chris Owings looking for his first hit on the season. I imagine all your years, Bob, in Major League clubhouses, you've seen some food incidents that, you know, with the buffet table and the spread and all that.
Clothing required to partake in the post-game spread.
Keeping Puig busy out there. Diamondbacks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 batters so far. 3 of them have flied out to right.
Yeah, some well-struck balls out that direction, but Puig able to get back near or on the warning track on all 3 of them. Hey, while we have a moment, let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game. This is a Matrix reference. We've had our eye on you for quite some time now, Mr. Anderson.
Hugo weaving, thank you. Weaving a tapestry of words as always. That's nice work. You and your staff have really.
It's all the staff, believe me.
Done some nice work.
I tried to explain before the game that when I watch a movie, I don't remember individual lines like you do or like the rest of our staff. I just kind of let the entertainment flow over me.
Washed over you.
Yeah, but you guys come up with the lines from the movies and you tie it all together. That really helps with the keys to the game.
Nice job by the Brenly staff. Well, now that we don't have the fan photo, which is not back with us this year, the Brenly committee really just kind of hanging around reading magazines.
Nothing to do.
So we put them to work. I threw back Puig's home run. All right. And then apparently left. Two and 1 to Tuffy. Your impressions of Tuffy Gozowich so far? Everything as expected?
Yeah, I mean, the defense has been off the charts good. I don't remember a ball getting by him so far in the first 3+ games. He's blocked every pitch in the dirt.
Draws a 2-out walk.
Offensively, you know, Tuffy swings hard. There's no question about it. For a guy that isn't known as a big-time power hitter, he doesn't get cheated up there. Occasionally, those big swings result in line drives to the gap. Occasionally, they result in jam shots that land in right field. But he's found a way to get the bat on the ball more consistently this spring in the early part of the season, and I think he's going to be just fine.
Off to a 2 for 8 start so far. So Gozowich, the runner at first. 2 down for Nick Ahmed, the shortstop. And Nick really did. By the time spring training ended, it was a no-brainer that this guy was the shortstop. He had a really good spring right from the first day to the last. 1 for 5 to begin his season. Now, you said you don't remember the lines from the movies. Have you seen Rudy?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen the Lord of the Rings trilogy?
No.
Oh, yeah, What? 2, 3, or 4? Oh, you're in 4, too. No. Sean Astin is here. We're going to talk to him next. This was Samwise Gamgee with first pitch duties. Did you watch 24?
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay. Well, Sean's in that. He's going to join us coming up here in the next half inning. Bounced in a hole at second. Kendrick is there. And that's the inning. We'll be right. We got LA in town, so we got a big time LA Hollywood big shot here.
There you go.
When we come back, no score at Chase Field. Rudiger, you might recognize him as Samwise Gamgee from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Sean Astin, the actor, is here with us. Now, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you very much for having me. This is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life.
How about that, huh?
It is. I just can't believe it's like you're in somebody's living room. I mean, it's just so like homey and comfortable, and I love it. It's gorgeous. You
came here on a perfect night. I mean, this is just absolute. This is the time to be here in the Valley. The weather this time of year.
I woke up this
fantastic.
morning in Toronto. Is he going to throw? Oh, he's going to throw. There's a baseball game.
Nah, don't worry about that.
We'll get back to that.
What was it like in Toronto? Cold this morning?
Cold and wet and rainy and everything. And flying in, I took a great picture of Chase Stadium from the airplane. As we flew right over it. And I said to the seatmate, I'm going to be there tonight.
Now, what was going on in Toronto?
I was shooting an episode of a television show.
24?
I'm pretty sure that show is. You know, it's funny. You were trying to get.
I thought they brought it back.
It was a movie, right? Did they do another series of it?
With all the stuff on the internet, it's hard to tell.
I died of a massive Sentox nerve gas attack.
That stuff's nasty. It hurts you every time.
Yeah, it hurts you. And everybody hates my character in that show. But see, I try and do a little demographic read of people.
Right.
And I took one look at Bob, and I was like, 24. Kind of a Republican, Arizona,
We try to stay away from politics here,
Okay,
Sean.
sorry.
Just, sports.
I didn't mean it as a political thing. I meant it as an identity.
Okay.
Now, what brings you to the Valley? I understand you got a big event going on in Mesa, right?
I really appreciate the airtime to share this.
We're glad to have you.
For the last year, I've been working with this couple here, Mindy and Chris Prager. She's a PE coach. A PE teacher and an after-school running program coach, and he's in law enforcement. And we met at a Disney marathon, and we became friends a couple years ago. And we decided, you know what? Let's do a 5K event together to benefit the kids that she coaches. Get them shoes and get them entrance fee money, because when you do the 10Ks, and these kids are doing half marathons, it's expensive. Getting there is expensive. So we've been doing it for last year. We've been planning it, and it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow morning. The registration is still available if people want to get online and do it at Run Third 5K. And it's you can come out in the morning. It's Red Mountain High in Mesa. And
what time's it start?
It's we'll be open for business at 6 a.m. and the race, the mayor's coming out. It's like a whole thing now.
That's
really
awesome, man.
I'm really
Nice.
proud of them what they put together. But 8 o'clock is when the run starts, and the thing is, I'm just like watching this baseball game right now.
Oh, you're good.
It's a good one. I'm like, shh, would you stop talking? I'm trying to watch it. I came up with an idea that was prompted by the LA Marathon. I'm running the Boston Marathon this year in a week. And
nice work.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It'll be my 10th full marathon. And one year when I was doing LA, they said, hey, why don't you dedicate your run to something? And I thought, I know so many people, and I love so many people, and there's so many cars. How do you pick which one you pick? So what I did was I said, all right, really, I run for myself. I run for my physical health, my mental health. That's the Diamondback hospitality.
Well, I mean, look, some things you just got to wear it, Sean.
I understand.
There have been some issues. You've been in Canada for a while. I don't know, but
I was there for a day. I know what happened in preseason. I know what happens when an errant pitch causes trouble for the whole season for people.
You're out running all the time.
That's true.
What? By the way, what's your best marathon time? Are you
4:04? It was 1998.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go sub 4 at some point. But so basically, I run first for myself. I run second for my wife and 3 daughters. I die for them. They're my life, my family. And then I run third. The idea I came up with was run third for you. So if you made a dedication, like who would you? If I'm going to run tomorrow, who would you want me to dedicate my run to? Who could I run for?
My granddaughter, Gemma.
Gemma.
Yeah.
So you would say run third for Gemma, and then I wear, and who would you run third for?
My wife, Cindy.
Cindy.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. So Gemma and Cindy. When I wear run third tomorrow, I'm going to be running on, and everybody else who's running with the symbol RUN3RD is going to run on behalf of Gemma and Cindy and all the other thousands of people who make these dedications. And the thing that's cool is, the end of another thing. So, and at the end of 3.
Sean Astin. We'll see you in Mesa tomorrow. You did a great job with the first pitch and a tremendous job helping out the Valley community. Sean, thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
With some home gear, of course. I'm Kate Longworth here at Chase Field at the team shop, the new and improved team shop, I might add. Merchandise is everywhere. We're talking beer koozies, also a great mic holder, I might add. And we've got polos, we've got glitter and glam, flip-flops for the Arizona summer, some Hawaiian shirts. I mean, this little sweatshirt for kids. And for our Throwback Thursdays, we've got our throwback hats. And basically, guys, if I'm not around for my next hit, I think you know where I am. They sent me to shop. They have all this new merchandise here. And all I'm wondering, Steve, Bob, one of you got a black Amex card? I could really use it right about now.
Anytime I need a black Amex, I go to Gonzo.
Gonzo's the guy.
Yeah, on the
he's
road.
your hookup.
But you're right, Kate. They did a fantastic job. It's been about 6 months. As they take a look at Yasmani Grandal behind home plate, they spent about 6 months renovating and remodeling the team shop right here at Chase Field. And it, as you can see, it's huge. And they got all kinds of stuff in there. You got Nike and Majestic and 47 brand. Every kind of maker you can think of, it's right there. And there's no waiting. A whole bunch of people to check you out.
And I know Cindy's very happy. A lot of ladies apparel down there now. You know, it used to be you went to the team shop, you had to buy a small and hope it fit your wife or your girlfriend or your mother or your grandmother. But Diamondbacks team store has all kinds of ladies apparel.
And you can see just walking around in there how big it is. I mean, last year, it was great last year, but seems like it's 3 times as big. And 3 times the selection, in fact. Yasmani Grandal, the Dodger catcher there, as Chase Anderson's up to lead off the bottom of the 3rd. Took a foul ball. They just checked him out behind home plate. Now he's back ready to go. And Chase is in there with an 0-2 count from Brett Anderson. And he strikes out to open up the 3rd. This was the foul ball a moment ago.
I don't usually like to watch the replays of these, but I think it caught him right on the knee. Wow. I mean, even with the shin guards, the impact of that, guys have been known to rupture the bursa sac underneath the kneecap. But Grandal seems to be none the worse for wear. Took him a while to get back up to his feet, but now back down in a crouch, doing it again.
A.J. Pollock, the leadoff man. Flat out his first time up. Want to thank Sean Astin for stopping by. You know, all the great work. I mean, you get some of these Hollywood phony types. They meet somebody, yeah, I'll help you out, sure, and then they don't show up.
Right.
Here's Sean Astin. Meets some friends in Mesa, comes in, flies in, helps them generate interest and money for their cause. A terrific job benefiting all the citizens of Mesa and the whole valley. And so our thanks to Sean for that. Rudy Rudiger.
Yeah, he seems like a really good guy.
Yeah, he was a good dude.
You know who's not a good dude? Brett Anderson. First at bat of the game, A.J. Pollock saw 7 pitches, all fastballs. The second at bat, he's seen 2 pitches, make it 3, all breaking balls.
And he knocks it into center for a base hit. A 2-strike base hit. Second hit for the D-backs. Here comes Ender Inciarte.
Left fielder, Ender Inciarte.
Got on top of that breaking ball, a little hard ground ball. Kendrick was shaded up the middle, still couldn't get to it. It was over on the shortstop side of the bag at second. A.J. Arm with a 1-out base hit.
Well, we mentioned the need for starting pitching in this ball game, and Chase Anderson, after a bit of a bumpy first, has really answered the call. He's retired 7 straight. He's got 5 strikeouts, and now the Diamondbacks trying to get Chase a run or 2 here and give him a lead. A.J. thought about it. They'll stay home at first.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Brett Anderson, 27 years old, just trying to get through one season healthy, which he just has not been able to do in the last 4 or 5 years. A career that's been severely derailed. Just one after another, and it's all different stuff. It's not like he's got a nagging elbow or a shoulder. I mean, it's just been everything. And he said, in fact, it's almost like he's been a movie stunt double. So many different parts of his body have been hurt.
Speaking of stunt doubles, he looks a little like Adam Dunn with that little red tinge to the beard.
It's a good call. Up the middle, and again it's into center field. A.J. Pollock will stop there with Peterson picking it up in shallow center. And Goldie with 2 on and 1 out.
Now batting, first baseman.
They're hanging in there. They're taking a page from A.J. Pollock's book, right back up the middle of the field. Boy, and if you're Don Mattingly and Rick Honeycutt, the pitching coach for the Dodgers, this is your worst nightmare. You hope that every time Goldie comes up, there's nobody on base. Just like the Diamondbacks hope every time Adrian Gonzalez comes to the plate, the bags are clean.
And with these 2 guys on base for Arizona, Pollock and Inciarte, anything down the line or that's a good chance to score 3. This one might get all 3 home run here. First of the year for Goldie. Mark Trumbo. Well, you said it, Bob. Worst nightmare.
Oh, you just hate to have guys on base when those money hitters come to the plate, and Paul Goldschmidt shows why he's the money hitter in that Diamondbacks lineup. Tremendous opposite field power. That just amazes me. Guys can hit the ball that far to the opposite field. Goldie obviously got what he was looking for. It appeared to be a fastball up and out over the plate. As always, he doesn't try to pull the ball. He just tries to hit it hard wherever it's pitched, and he has the kind of power to drive it out there into the RamTrucks.com pool.
102 miles an hour off the bat the other way. Hello. 1-2 now to Trumbo.
And Goldie continues to percentage against the Dodgers in his career. Carlos Gonzalez of the Rockies leads the list. Albert Pujols from his days with the Cardinals had big numbers against the Dodgers, but Goldie slugging percentage coming into tonight was .561, so that will definitely go up.
A strikeout of Chase Anderson to open up this Diamondback third. And then 3 straight hits. Pollock and Inciarte single. Goldschmidt homers. And it's 1-2 on Trumbo. Looks at strike 3. Second strikeout for Brett Anderson. 2 down.
That appeared to be a changeup. You see Grandal move out to that outside corner. Anderson hits the glove, and they get the call from home plate umpire Chris Conroy.
Aaron Hill flying out his first time. Chase Anderson has been great retired. Now he's got a 3-0 lead. Jimmy Rollins. Paul Goldschmidt. Now 5 for 11 on the year. He's got home run number 1. Diamondbacks have a 3-0 lead. Goldie 2 for 2 so far. His first home run this season has made it 3-0 Diamondbacks. And speaking of home runs, here's Adrian Gonzalez to open up the LA fourth against Chase Anderson, who has retired 7 straight. Are you a big believer in the shutdown inning?
I am. I think most teams are big believers in that. If you spot your pitcher to some runs in a ball game, give him a lead, and he goes out there and gets 3 quick outs, there seems to be a momentum that starts to build in that dugout. Got the offense clicking a little bit, a couple of base hits. Goldie went deep. Chase Anderson goes right back out there and puts a quick 3-out 0 on the board. You're right back up at the plate swinging those bats again.
Well, he's had it rolling. Let's see if he can maintain the magic the second time through the order. Being careful with Gonzalez. 2 balls and a strike. He singled his first time. Last year, Chase did a very good job of getting into a rhythm early in ball games. The first time through the lineup, the opposition hit barely .220 versus Chase. And that was 4th best among rookie starters in the National League last season. Now comes the second time through this Dodger order. 3-1 to Gonzalez. Leadoff walk. Second walk issued by Chase Anderson.
Well, that's another thing. When a hitter is locked in at the plate, not only do they do damage when they swing the bat, but they're seeing the ball so well, they rarely chase pitches out of the zone. I mean, when guys like Adrian Gonzalez and Paul Goldschmidt, and take your pick of any of the premier hitters in baseball, when they get locked in at the plate, they take strikes because it wasn't the strike they were looking for. That's how good they feel at the plate.
Howie Kendrick walked his first time. There's strike one.
Now, I got a fastball middle away, but I was looking for it middle in and about an inch higher. I mean, honest to goodness, the game slows down that much. They pick up the ball that well out of the pitcher's hand that they can be very specific with what they're looking for. And until they get to 2 strikes, they just wait for that pitch.
Well, Kendrick has had a good start to his Dodgers career, 5 for 12. And again, he's behind, 2 balls and a strike. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast tonight, Diamondback starting pitchers have got to pitch deeper into ball games. Chase Anderson pretty consistent in that regard as a rookie last year. He threw at least 5 innings in a dozen consecutive starts here in his home park. And he walks Gonzalez to open up the 4th, and now he's behind on Kendrick, 3-1. Yasmani Grandal will be next.
I think teams may have to start thinking about stretching out their starters just a little bit more in spring training. I mean, Chase Anderson in Cactus League this year, 5 official appearances, only threw 18 2/3. Now, he did throw 5 more innings in a minor league start, so a total of just over 23 innings in spring training. I mentioned Brett Anderson. One time he pitched 6 innings. In none of his other spring training starts did he go more than 3. Now all of a sudden the bell rings. Here we are in the regular season, and you expect guys to go 6 or 7 or 8 innings when they haven't even come close to that in spring training.
60 pitches now for Chase, 35 strikes. Double play ball here. Ahmed, Owens, Goldie, they roll it. Just what the doctor ordered.
Well, nicely done by the guys up the middle. Nick Ahmed with a long underhanded toss, but he gives it to Chris Owens down around knee level. That's a defense mechanism for a middle infielder. That threat that you're going to drop down and throw underhanded to first base, that forces that runner to get down in his slide just a little bit quicker and clear that throwing lane.
Gonzalez was coming in hard too.
Well, that's something you love about 2 young guys working together up the middle of the field. They're going to have plenty of time to get to know each other's strengths and weaknesses. Where does he like to feed with a fast runner? Where does he want to feed with a slow runner? Do we have to rush this play? Do we have plenty of time? Those 2 youngsters are going to have a lot of fun working with each other up the middle of the field.
Well, CO told us on our D-backs podcast that when he started getting reps at second base, the double play feeds feeding to the shortstop was something he hadn't really done a whole lot of. And he said when he started, it was like trying to play shortstop at second base and just working backwards from everything he had learned. And that doesn't sound like it's easy.
You can imagine a right-handed throwing second baseman, as they all are. You take that ground ball and somehow you've got to turn your body and get that ball to the shortstop, preferably with a little bit on it, preferably very accurately. But very nicely turned this time. The low feed right there. I mean, he could have fired right down there from knee level if he wanted to, but he had enough time to make the throw and get out of the way of the sliding runner.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Yasmani Grandal, the catcher. Wow, he has launched one high and deep and gone. Yasmani Grandal, his first hit this season, is a homer, and it's 3-1. Well, that double play is even bigger right now. Ooh. He's got power from that left-hand side, and there it is.
Middle in, middle of the thighs. Those balls tend to get hit hard at the big leagues, and Grandal knew it right away. Caught it on the sweet spot of the bat. No vibrations whatsoever into his hands, and he knew it was gone.
Carl Crawford. That's just the second Dodgers hit against Chase Anderson. Crawford struck out his first time up. Roll to second, right to Owings. But the Dodgers get one. Bottom 4 coming up. D-backs lead at 3-1.
Ball game, maybe they'd pitch to more contact. If they take a look at some of the defense we've seen from the Diamondbacks infield in the early going this year. Nick Ahmed with a couple of nice plays already tonight. Chris Owings with a nice diving stop up the middle of the field. You get those kind of defensive plays behind you as a pitcher, I would think that would make you want to pitch to contact even more.
Well, the Diamondbacks, I don't think there's any question, are going to be a plus defensive ball club all over the infield and outfield. And we've seen some reasons why here tonight. A lot of good gloves down there for Arizona. 50 pitches now for Brett Anderson, 34 strikes. Here's Owings, who flied out his first time. CO trying to get it going offensively. And we mentioned this a couple of games ago, Bob. It just looked like he was gripping up there.
He was just really jumping at the ball, overly aggressive. We talked earlier about sitting back and letting the ball travel. That time he does let it travel a little bit before grounding to Uribe at third base. But in his previous at-bats, he was really going out after the baseball. Wasn't letting it come to him. He was going out after the ball.
Well, we want to welcome all our fans joining us on Fox Sports Arizona. Now that the Suns game is over, Pelicans won this one. Diamondbacks leading here 3-1. Paul Goldschmidt, his first home run of the season, a 3-run shot in the third. Yasmani Grandal is homered for the Dodgers. They get one back. So a 3-1 ball game with one out in the bottom of the fourth. And here's Tuffy Gozawish, who walked his first time up. Luchador. That's always a good look. A reminder, get to the game early on Sunday, 1:10 against these Dodgers. Los D-backs Fiesta de la Familia Multicultural Street Festival, courtesy of Fry's. We'll have food stores, live music, courtesy of La Maxima Sonora, food trucks, a beer, tequila garden. We got a lot going on here. It's going to be a big day, so come on down. Tickets and info, dbacks.com/fiesta. Look at it.
The tequila garden, that just sounds dangerous.
What could happen?
Ugh.
Of course, it's a big. I got fireworks tonight, BB. The first fireworks after the ball game tonight.
That.
Hello Kitty bobblehead here tomorrow. Dad and daughter day on Sunday as well. Probably want to avoid the tequila garden, but I mean, yeah. Well, you never know.
Yeah, take the kids gardening.
Yeah. You sit here, Daddy will be back in a half inning. Tuffy lines one right to Rollins at short. By the way, BB, I don't know if you're aware, Jenny Finch is going to be here. The great USA softball pitcher. She's going to throw out the first pitch tomorrow. Is that right? No, Sunday. Sunday she's got the first pitch. University of Arizona alum, of course. So, wow, it's a big weekend here at Chase Field. So come on down.
Well, her husband is former Diamondback right-hander Casey Daigle. And when Casey would have bad games, I used to tell him we drafted the wrong Daigle.
Low-hanging fruit. Never not funny, though.
Oh, it's true. It's true. It's true.
That's out of play. Nick Ahmed grounded out his first time. And boy, Sean Astin was talking about it. He's right. It's been beautiful all week. The weather here tonight is perfect. Everything's open, roof open, panels open. Dodgers are in town, so come on down this weekend.
Anybody that has lived in the valley for any amount of time knows that it won't be long until this place will be hermetically sealed as those temperatures crawl up into triple digits. So get out here while you can and really enjoy the Arizona evenings.
Yeah, if you could bottle this one tonight, you would.
Well, even the players talk about the difference. They love to play with the roof and panels open. Maybe the pitchers not so much, but you get visiting teams come in here, and then one of the first questions they ask is, the roof going to be open tonight?
I don't know. Do you want it open?
Do you want it open?
Just gorgeous. 3-2 now to Nick. Brett Anderson has retired 4 in a row, looking for a 1-2-3-4. Nice if Nick could work the walk here and clear the pitcher spot with Chase on deck. Diamondbacks Live follows our ball game. Jody Jackson and Brandon Webb. Webby is here working tonight. High in the air, right center field. Puig. 5 in a row retired by Anderson. Through 4, D-backs lead the Dodgers 3-1. as we start the 5th. Let's take a look now at our T-Mobile game-changing player. And BB, we go to the minors for this one. Last night, Aaron Blair, former #1 pick. AA Mobile Bay Bears, 3 hits and 6. Look good.
Yeah, look good. Good start to the season. Yeah, I love it. Minor league action underway. Well, most minor league action underway. The Portland Sea Dogs have been snowed out twice. Have a doubleheader scheduled tomorrow, so hopefully they'll get started soon. But
Michael got his mittens.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was prepared for it, but no ball games.
The Del Nuno pitched very well last night for the Reno Aces, and Peter O'Brien hit a home run. Robbie Ray pitching for Reno tonight. And the Aces are at Albuquerque. They trail 1-0. Isotopes only have 2 hits off Robbie Ray so far. And after Aaron Blair pitched for Mobile last night, Braden Shipley's on the mound tonight at Birmingham. That game is 3-3. So always keeping a close eye on the minor leagues with so much talent down there. In fact, Bob, I saw just the other day, I sent a tweet out on this. The Baseball America, one of the great baseball publications and websites, put out its list of top 10 most talented minor league teams regardless of the level, and the Mobile Bay Bears were in the top 10.
Nice.
All over the country.
Well, we say it every year. You can't recommend highly enough. If you get an opportunity to catch a minor league game anywhere, go out and check out some minor league baseball, preferably one of our affiliates. A lot of great players in the Diamondbacks system this year, but minor league baseball is a lot of fun. You see some dizzy bat races, three-legged races, and all kinds of things going on between innings, and then during the innings you get to see some of the best players in the game.
Uribe leads off the 5th with a single, just the 3rd hit for LA against Chase. This is what happened in Reno last night with Fidel Nuno on the mound for the Aces, and Peter O'Brien a big night in the outfield now. They plan to have Peter in left field in Reno and Yasmani Tomas in right.
Always good to get off to a good start. Good to see Fidel Nuno put up 5 strong innings, gave up only the 6 base hits.
Boy, he was so good in the second half for the Diamondbacks last year.
Sure was.
And with all that competition in spring training this year, didn't quite earn a spot, but you certainly have the feeling that we'll see Fidel up here at some point this season.
Pitching depth. You always need more than you think you're going to when you break camp.
Jock Peterson, 2 for 11 to start the season for him. He grounded out his first time. And this is a guy they're very excited about. He'll turn 23 in about 2 weeks. The MVP of the Pacific Coast League last year. He hit over 300 at Albuquerque with 33 homers, 78 RBIs, and he stole 30 bases. That one sneaks through into right. Uribe will head for 3rd. And he's in there. They're on the corners to open up the Dodger 5th.
That's a very well placed ground ball to that right side with Goldie holding on Uribe at first base, cutting down on his range. He can't quite move far enough to his right. Chris Owings can't get there from second base, and because it's so slowly trickled through the infield, that gives Uribe an opportunity to go all the way to third base.
And so the entire infield is at the mound right now with the pitcher coming up and expecting a bunt, of course.
Safety squeeze always a possibility with a pitcher at the plate. Relatively slow runner in Uribe at third base. He would read the ball on the ground. If he thinks he can make it home, he comes on in. If he doesn't think he can make it, they just use it as a sacrifice bunt to move Peterson into scoring position.
Now, does Aaron Hill have any special responsibility here?
You definitely have to keep an eye on Anderson at the plate. See if he tips off anything. See if he starts to slide his hands up the bat to get as much of a jump toward home plate as you possibly can. This is the kind of situation where a lot of managers like to throw a couple of pickoff attempts to first base just to see if the pitcher will do what Anderson is doing right now.
Corners crash. Anderson gets it down. Uribe halfway to third. He's going to stop there. They get the force at first, and Uribe back to the bag. He was tap dancing halfway to the plate. And he'll go back and hang out with Low Bundy down there. Peterson moves up, one away.
Yeah, I'll tell you, a runner at third with more speed scores on this. Watch how far down the line Uribe comes. He's halfway down the line. You're going to have a player scrambling to get back and cover home plate, but Uribe, he knows his limitations. He knows how fast he is. He knows how quickly he can accelerate, and Chris Owings looking right at him, chased him back to the bag at third.
So one out, the tying runs in scoring position. Big RBI spot here for the leadoff man, Jimmy Rollins, who was 0 for 2. Rollins has flied out and struck out. He needs 9 RBIs to reach 900 for his career. There's strike one. Rollins, a switch hitter, better from the left-hand side in terms of the production. That's where he had 14 of his 17 homers last year. But he's, for his career, a little better average-wise from the other side. Just gets a piece of that. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Pitches for Chase, 46 strikes. Trying to get out of this 5th with that 2-run lead. Two and 2.
Rollins filling that leadoff role for the Dodgers, at least for the time being. He's a guy that usually hits at the top. He's had a lot of experience at the top of the order, a lot of experience in the 2-hole and the 3-hole.
Uribe is the runner at third. Peterson with very good speed at second. Center field. That ball gets down to the score 2, and Rollins is on the run. They'll stop at second with a 2-run double, and the Dodgers have come back to tie it up.
He's hit all over the lineup, or at least the top of the lineup, is just this very fact. Jimmy Rollins is used to being at the plate in RBI situations. He's a different hitter when he's trying to drive in runs as opposed to get on base, and that time he clears them with that double to the gap in right center.
Mike Harkey out to the mound. 3 hits in the inning. Chase Anderson had a bumpy first, gave up a 2-out single to Gonzalez, then a walk to Kendrick. Got out of that trouble, then retired the next 7 he faced. A walk and a home run in the 4th, and now 3 hits here in the 5th. Al Stottlemyre Jr. waiting by the phone. And now Rollins is the go-ahead run at second. Still only 1 out for Puig, who's 0 for 2. Last year, Puig batted in 6 different spots in the Dodgers lineup. Mattingly had him moving all over in that order, but he's in there in the 2-hole tonight. Puig, Bob, very still up there. He's got his hands out in front, that bat upright, very quiet.
beating himself up in that batter's box, trying to give himself a wake-up call offensively this season.
He just kind of stands there quietly, nothing moving or waggling too much. Spits on that one, a ball and a strike. One and two.
Just not the kind of swing you're used to seeing from Yasiel Puig. 92-mile-an-hour fastball down and out over the plate. Kind of a defensive 2-strike swing that time.
1 for 14 as he stands in here to begin his season. Got 5 strikeouts in those 14 at bats as well. Keeping Rollins close at second. He's the go-ahead run. Got him. 2 down in the 5th. 6th strikeout for Chase.
Some well-located fastballs, and then finishes him off with a straight changeup right on that outside corner. Speed the bat up, trying to catch up to the fastball, and then throw him a changeup.
And he still has to deal with Adrian Gonzalez. In fact, with first base open, they won't even bother. They'll put him on.
This is an easy call right here for Chip Hale, or any manager for that matter. When you've got one of the hottest hitters on the planet with a runner in scoring position and a base open, you just take the bat out of his hands.
Gonzalez tonight has singled and walked, and now he'll get the free pass, and they'll work to Kendrick. Some fans wearing blue shirts behind the first base dugout, now too thrilled. Mike Harkey on the phone. So it'll be 2 on and 2 out for Howie Kendrick, who has walked and hit into a double play.
Howie Kendrick.
Andrew Chafin, a left-hander, starts throwing. And again, we're in a spot, we're in the middle of the ball game. The Diamondbacks coaching staff is looking for a reliever to give them length and some innings in that bullpen, with the starter struggling to get through 5.
Tremendous pitch here. First pitch changeup. RBI situation for a guy that's used to driving in a lot of runs. He's going to come up there and be very aggressive, looking to attack the first strike he sees, and instead Chase Anderson pulls the string and throws him a changeup.
Jumps ahead 0-2. That changeup is such a weapon for Chase. All kinds of metrics that'll tell you it was actually one of the better changeup in the major leagues last year. 0-2. Creeping up on 100 here through 4 2/3. Pitch count is an issue once again tonight. Told you had to labor through that scoreless first, and now 26 here in the 5th and counting.
Well, the good thing about Chase Anderson's changeup is it is so good that he can double or triple or sometimes throw 4 in a row. There's an old axiom in this game: you never throw the same pitch 3 times in a row. I never believed it, but I heard it from a lot of pitching coaches early on in my catching career. Don't throw the same pitch 3 times in a row. Makes it too easy for the hitter to gauge the movement and the speed. But when your changeup is as good as Chase Anderson's, you could throw it every pitch to a hitter and still fool him.
We see Ruby De La Rosa do that a lot, actually, too. Is there strength in the idea as the hitter that, well, there's no way he'll throw it 3 times in a row? So
it gets into that guessing game, and a lot of hitters do try to guess along with opposing pitchers.
Lays off that when it's even 2-2. We saw Josh Colmenter a moment ago. Josh, of course, that changeup, a big weapon for him. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out in a tie game in the 5th. Down the right field line. Out of play.
And that's kind of a byproduct of a guy throwing a good changeup. When you do throw a fastball, hitters are tardy a lot. You know, they're kind of caught in between. They're behind the fastball. They're ahead of the changeup.
Doesn't get the call there from Chris Conroy, and it's full 3-2.
That's a big non-call right there. You see Tuffy slides out. It's off the outside corner, but now, say it all the time, full count, 2 outs. Runners are going to be in motion.
Pitch number 100 on the way. Rollins is the runner at second. Gonzalez at first. There they go. Drives it to right. Trumbo. So the Dodgers strand 2, but they get 2. We're all tied.
Tonight on the mound, but tomorrow it's a premier matchup on the mound as we get things started with our 4:30 p.m. pregame, and we watch Archie Bradley make his major league debut going up against the great Clayton Kershaw. Now, I did talk to Archie about this. He said this is one of those situations you dream up when you're a kid playing in your backyard, going up against one of the greatest. He's ready for tomorrow, and you can hear more of my interview coming up tomorrow pregame live. Guys?
That is going to be an event. I can't wait for that ball game. I'm sure Archie might not sleep tonight either, Bob. He's been waiting for that for years now.
Yeah, I always get the biggest kick out of Archie against Clayton Kershaw, and you know they're probably only going to actually face each other a couple, 3 times in the ball game. It's Archie against the Dodgers offense and Clayton Kershaw against the Diamondbacks offense.
Well, with Chase Anderson at 100 pitches through 5, Jordan Pacheco will hit for Anderson to lead off the bottom of the 5th. So that's the end of Chase's night.
And Ruby De La Rosa still has the longest outing by a D-back starter this year at 5 1/3.
Yeah, that's got to get fixed. Looks like we'll see Andrew Chafin for at least 1 inning, likely longer, to start the 6th. There's Mike Harkey going over what he's seen. Hark's a talker. You wind him up, let him go. You'll be there for a while. But he's got a lot of things to pass along with Chase tonight. That's how you make progress, right?
Yeah, that's how you get better. You know, here's what you did. Here's what you possibly could have done to maybe save yourself some pitches in this inning or that particular at bat. Pacheco goes down on a check swing.
Now you're looking to save the bullpen. For some thoughts on that, here is Mike Harkey.
We're going to definitely monitor the appearances that they have and the times they get up and down in the bullpen. That's probably one of the biggest things that I try to monitor early in the season, because we don't want to get these guys too much off of the schedule they were on in spring training and throw too much at them too soon.
And that, to me, Bob, is A.J. Pollock takes a swing and a miss. That's where managing, from my perspective, really does look like an art form. When do you get a guy up in the bullpen? When do you not get him up? Because I know relievers hate that. I got up 3 times this week. I never got in the game. And it wears them out. How do you know when to get a guy started and get him hot, as they say, in case you need him?
Well, that's why spring training is so important for a first-year manager at the major league level. You want to see these guys under fire. You want to see how they react to situations so that when it happens in the regular season, as that one's popped up to the middle of the field, looks like Jimmy Rollins is going to back up and make the play. Actually, that's Howie Kendrick. Excuse me. 2 down. Hey, you see how guys react, and you know, okay, this guy can bow his neck and pitch through some adversity. We can leave him in there and let him grind. We're going to just let the bullpen sit down. Other guys, you see him get in trouble and it goes completely the wrong way, and you need to get the bullpen up right away. And also sometimes with your directions to the bullpen, you can say get Andrew Chafin up, just have him play catch. Don't let him get on the rubber and start firing him. Just have him up, get him stretched out, let him play a little catch. If he gets anybody on base, have him start throwing in earnest. That's one way you can save the bullpen a little bit from all those times the phone rings, they get up, they get hot, they get ready, and then they don't go into the ball game maybe for 2 or 3 more innings.
And over the course of a long season, that's wear and tear. Can you, if a manager is not good at that, can he lose his bullpen? Do they suddenly lose confidence in their skipper?
Oh, yeah, it can happen very quickly. You start getting guys up and sitting them down, then you get 2 different guys up and sit them down, then you get the 2 original guys up and sit them back down.
Off the glove of Anderson, Rollins is there to clean up, but he works a 1-2-3-5. We are tied up in downtown Phoenix. by your Valley Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, greatness in, greatness out. Now available at your local Fry's. 3-3 ball game as we start the 6th, and the left-hander is out there for the Diamondbacks. It's Andrew Chafin and his mustache. Grandal, Crawford, Uribe, 5, 6, and 7 in the LA 6th. Grandal homered his last time up.
We saw Chafin for 2 1/3 on opening night in relief of Josh Colmetter. Did a really nice job. Gave up only 1 base hit. Struck out a couple of guys. Zeros otherwise across the board.
Bounce to Chris Owings at second behind the bag. Throws him out. Yeah, Chafin, when he came in the opener, gave up the base hit against Brandon Crawford when he first stepped in, but then retired 7 straight. And they're looking for that again here tonight. Need some length out of that bullpen. And Andrew Chafin throwing a little harder now that he doesn't have to worry about going 5, 6, 7 innings. He's 1 or 2 at the most as Crawford fouls that one away. So there's a little more velocity on the fastball. It's got a nice natural sink to it too.
Yeah, last year he was pitching in the low 90s pretty consistently. Maybe dropped down into the high 80s at the end of an outing, but this year pitching out of the bullpen, that velocity spiked up into the mid 90s.
And Tony La Russa, when asked what it was specifically that they liked about Andrew Chafin in this new role, and Tony said it was that the club just felt Chafin could come in, pitch 1 inning, get an out or 2, or he could go a little deeper, having been stretched out as a starter, and give you extended innings in relief. And so he's got some real mid-game flexibility there. A guy that they think is a competitor out there. And I think, Bob, that you can see that watching Andrew out there. He's out there competing. Another ground ball to Chris Owings. 2 up, 2 down. There's a mentality that he's got, and you can just read it in his face. And of course the mustache helps.
Always helps. Well, I mean, I would guess Andrew Chafin might not say this to Tony La Russa or Chip Hale, but I would guess that he would prefer to be a starting pitcher. Most guys would rather be starting pitchers than long relievers, especially if that's what you've done throughout your entire minor league career. But the best way to get back into that starting rotation is be an effective long reliever. Come in and get the outs you're supposed to get, eat up some innings until you can get to your short guys at the end of the bullpen. And so far, in 1 outing plus, Andrew's done a nice job of it.
Rolling along here ahead of Uribe, 0-2. He singled and scored his last time up. And he went around. There's the strikeout. So Chafin, an 8-pitch 6th inning. Make that a 9-pitch 6th inning. 1, 2, 3. So we go to the bottom of the 6th. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Goldie, who's 2 for 2. He homered in his last at bat. He'll lead it off. Paul Goldschmidt will lead off the Arizona sixth. Goldie, Trumbo, Hill 3, 4, and 5 against Brett Anderson. And Goldie so far tonight singled in the first, a 3-run homer in the third, his first of the year. And so he's 5 for 11 to begin his season at the plate. And boy, Brett Anderson rolling along here, Bob. Back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings.
A lot of fastballs early, started to incorporate the slider and the curveball more often. Second time through the lineup.
Lifts this one high to Puig and right. And Anderson is now retired 9 in a row. Fun times at the RamTrucks.com pool area. The whole class is here tonight.
Right field, Mark Trumbo.
Brings up Mark Trumbo. Brett Anderson, boy, this guy's always been good, as we told you before. If he could just stay healthy, he might have something here. That's why the Dodgers gave him $10 million to pitch this season, despite the fact he was able to make only 8 starts as a Rocky last year. Mark 0 for 2 and 2 for 14 to start the year. So far for Brett Anderson, only 4 hits through 5 1/3. Not a big strikeout, guys. We told you, a lot of ground ball outs. In fact, over the previous 3 seasons, Brett Anderson has been able to appear in only 30 major league games, 19 starts. And he has not pitched more than 113 innings in a season since his rookie year back in 2009. That's when he broke into the big leagues with Oakland. Won 11 games. He was only 21 years old. But then developed elbow problems the following season. That led to Tommy John surgery in 2011. And that left elbow alone has put him on the DL 3 times. But he's had a lot more problems than that. 0-2 on Trumbo. 2 years ago, he was Oakland's opening day starter, but went down with a stress fracture in his right foot. 5 starts into that season. And last year in Colorado for him, everything went wrong. He broke his left index finger during an at-bat only 3 starts into the year and was out 3 months. Came back just before the All-Star break, made 5 starts, pitched very well. The ERA just about 2.5, but then on August 5th had to leave a start after only 3 innings with back spasms and wound up needing surgery for a herniated disc. He was done for the year. Right to third, but right at Uribe. It knocks him down. Long throw is over Gonzalez's head, and Trumbo's aboard. Oh, it's a smash to third. And Trumbo will get second base.
Uribe playing very deep. That smash knocked him back farther into left field. Gets to his feet quickly. Still had time to get the out at first, but airmails one over Adrian Gonzalez, and Mark Trumbo on at second base with 1 out in the inning.
That's a single, and E5 puts Trumbo at second for Aaron Hill, who's 0 for 2. That snaps the streak of 9 straight retired by Brett Anderson. That's the Diamondbacks' first hit since the Goldie homer back in the 3rd.
I know Mark Trumbo's trying to hit the ball in the air a little more regularly this season, but when you hit him on the ground that hard, you're going to get your share of base hits too.
This is a burner. How about that coming at you at 106 miles an hour? And with Aaron Hill up there, the way he pulls the ball, Uribe can't get too comfortable. Just missed it there.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. A day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Go ahead, run at second, only 1 out. A ball and 2 strikes to Aaron Hill. It's already been a tough series for Grandal back there. bullpen gets busy for the Dodgers. Brett Anderson approaching 90 pitches. Another foul ball. One over the head of Andy Green at third. Low tapper back to the mound. Trumbo gets in at third. They throw Aaron Hill out. 2 down. It's time to take a look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Great day to be here tomorrow. Archie Bradley's major league debut, and it comes against Clayton Kershaw.
Just crazy numbers for Kershaw. Seems like we say that every year.
He ain't bad.
No.
The reigning NL Cy Young Award winner and the MVP. First pitcher to win both those awards since Bob Gibson in '68. And that's who Archie gets to face in his big league debut. Go get him, kid. There's CO. And then after that, of course, you get Greinke. He's got kind of a Tim Riggins haircut this year for you Friday Night Lights fans.
There you go.
The blonde Tim Riggins. Clear eyes, full hearts.
There you go with movie lines again.
Yeah, were you a Friday Night Lights guy?
Oh, yeah.
Great show. Great show.
Tremendous.
You know, actually mentioning Tim Riggins, he's going to be in the new True Detective. Oh. Did you watch that on the HBO?
Yes,
True
I
Detective?
did, yeah.
The new one is coming out, and Tim Riggins is in it. You know, when the Dodgers are in, you got to stay up on all this Hollywood stuff.
It doesn't seem that long ago that, you know, and I don't want to sound like an old man, even though I am an old man, but, you know, it used to be athletes had their hair cut short. You had to shave. You couldn't have facial hair. You couldn't do any of that stuff. It was like a rock band in there.
Well, they get the strikeout on Owings, and they strand the go-ahead run at third through 6. It's all tied.
Interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game.
Another tie game, close game late here at Chase Field. It was like this throughout the San Francisco series, and as we start the 7th in game 1 of 3 against the Dodgers, it's 3-3 with Andrew Chafin back out there to work to Jock Peterson. Pitcher spot is due up second in this inning for LA, and Scott Van Slyke is in the on-deck circle. He would hit for Anderson. So it's a bullpen game from this point on. Peterson singled and scored his last time up. He's 1 for 2. Lifted into the left field corner. Dodgers very excited about Jock Peterson. Before he won the Coast League MVP award last year at AAA Albuquerque, he gave away his car. Not a car, but his actual car, a 1994 Buick Century with 160,000 miles on it. No hubcaps, no air conditioning. That's what he was driving around as a minor league player. He named the car Little Chucky. And it, it kind of looks like a Little Chucky. The Blue Book value is less than $1,000. And so they figured, well, he's going to get rid of the car anyway. Let's have a contest and give it away. So that's what they did. It was a fan contest, and the winner had to agree. There were terms. You had to accept Little Chucky as is. Which, as you can see there, was not great.
No. Well, that's all right, though. I like that.
There it is, 160,000 miles, no AC, no hubcaps.
That was a pretty common thing when I was in the minor leagues. Yeah, nowhere near as nice as that.
That's your truck.
Yeah.
Bounced over the mound. Nick Ahmed has to hurry. Peterson can run, but he throws him out. So Chafin's retired all 4 he's faced.
In order to save money in the minor leagues, sometimes 3 or 4 or 5 or however many guys you could jam into an apartment would split the cost of the rent, and they would also go out to the local used car dealer and find something that they could all afford and share the car for the summer. And a lot of those vehicles should have been auctioned off
or destroyed.
Yeah.
So 1 down in the 7th. That's it for Brett Anderson. Here's Scott Van Slyke, Wade Miley's old nemesis. And this is the guy with a very high contact to damage ratio. He comes into this season with 103 career hits, 44 of them for extra bases, including 20 home runs.
And he's 11 for his last 27 against the Diamondbacks with 4 doubles, 4 homers. Of course, most of that was against Wade Miley. So
yeah. He just crushed D-backs pitching last year. 10 games, 4 home runs, batted nearly .420. That's out of play. A big right-hand bat on that bench for Don Mattingly. And of course, the left-hand bat on the bench in terms of the outfielders is still Andre Ethier. They haven't solved that problem yet. It's slightly less convoluted with Matt Kemp now in San Diego, but you've still got Crawford, Peterson, Puig left to right. You've got Van Slyke in the mix. He can play some first base as well, and you've got Andre Ethier, and there just aren't any at bats right now for Andre Ethier. Hill. 2 down.
While we have a moment here, let's take a look at this day in baseball history presented by Geico. On this day in 1962, the Dodgers played their first game at Dodger Stadium. First 4 seasons after they moved to the West Coast, they played at Old Memorial Coliseum. But on this day in 1962, in front of 52,564 fans, they played the Reds at Dodger Stadium. First game ever in Chavez Ravine.
Did you like playing there? I know you weren't a big Dodger fan, obviously, being a Giant. But
there were some issues there. Now, I loved playing there because it was a rivalry. The Giants Dodgers, you knew it was going to be a great crowd really into the ball game. We had some great battles with the Dodgers back in the day against that guy, Oral Hershiser. But at the time, Mike Scioscia was the starting catcher for the Dodgers. And Mike liked the dirt behind home plate. Nice play.
To get Rollins. Nice job. More Diamondback defense. Andrew Chafin has retired. All 6 he's faced. We'll finish the Dodger Stadium story when we come back. Dodgers and D-backs all tied up. We stretch. look at our Cox Gigalife high-speed highlights. 3-3 game as we start the home half of the 7th, and the new pitcher for the Dodgers, rookie right-hander Yimi Garcia, who made his first opening day roster after a tremendous Cactus League season. Garcia this spring pitched 11 1/3 innings and had a ERA of .79, 15 strikeouts in those 11 innings. And he earned himself a job on the opening day roster, but had a blown save Tuesday against the Padres at Dodger Stadium. Tuffy Gozawish leads off the home half of the 7th. Tuffy has walked and lined to short. He's 0 for 1. Yimi Garcia did see some time in September in the big leagues last year for the Dodgers. Worked 10 innings, had 9 strikeouts. Tuffy lifts this in the air to shallow left Crawford zone.
Well, basically a 2-pitch mix from Garcia: fastball, slider, occasional straight changeup.
Shortstop, Nick Ahmed.
Nick Ahmed. Garcia pitched for AAA Albuquerque last year. 4-2 with 3.10 ERA in 47 games. He had 5 saves. He worked 61 innings and had 69 strikeouts. Oh, 2. Brad Ziegler, I don't know, contemplating warming up, I guess. Pondering.
I think it all depends on what happens in Nick Ahmed's at bat here.
There's the high heat for the strikeout, 2 down.
Well, 2 outs and nobody on base. I think Andrew Chafin will go ahead and take the at bat. Brad Ziegler will probably have a seat until next inning. Elevated fastball, just a little higher than Nick could handle.
And Brad is already sitting back down. Chafin will take the AB here with 2 outs in the 7th.
Now that's one of those ones you get to command something to the effect of go along with the inning. Start playing a little bit of catch. If a runner gets on base, you know, start throwing a little bit faster, a little bit more on the pitches. If the second guy gets on base, you know they're going to pinch hit for the pitcher spot. So then you really start throwing in earnest. But 2 quick outs in the inning, and Chafin's going to hit for himself, so Brad has a seat.
Chafin has been out there for 2 innings and has retired all 6 Dodgers he's faced in relief of Chase Anderson. And so far, he's had an excellent start to the year, Andrew Chafin, coming out of the Diamondback bullpen. The former Kent State Golden Flash. And he strikes out. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Yimi Garcia, who works a 1-2-3 7th. To the 8th we go. 3-3 ball game. You'll get highlights, instant analysis, and live look-ins from around the league. MLB Whip Around is weeknights at 4 on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Bob, occasionally I will check the Twitter during innings, and I got a tweet here from James Horn. James, thanks for watching and for tweeting and the whole thing. But he asked a good question. Why are they letting Puig step out of the box? Where's the warning? Or are the Dodgers excluded? Well, there's no reason to get snippy. The rules do apply to the Dodgers, but and this is all in the pace of game initiative. You have to keep a foot in the box and all that stuff. But fans have to be aware here that the umpires have been instructed not to go out of their way to indicate that a player has committed a violation. Instead, they're told to simply mark down the infraction just like they would, say, for an equipment violation. And then, they kind of deal with it later. The umpires are hoping to avoid having, I don't know, confrontations over violations of pace of play rules. Now, if a guy is a habitual violator, then they're expected to step in and handle that differently. But the players who violate the pace of play rules, fans, they get a warning, but it comes as a letter. You don't get it on the field by the umpire. They send you a letter, and baseball has actually started sending out those letters this week. And they don't start actually fining guys until May. They're giving everybody spring training and April to kind of get used to the new rules, and then you'll start getting fined the first week of May.
And there are some qualifiers. If you swing at a pitch and foul it out of play, like Puig has done a couple pitches in this at bat, you're entitled to step out and fix your batting gloves or whatever you feel necessary. But I think we even saw Chris Conroy after that second foul ball say, hey, come on, get a little closer to the box here. You don't have to walk all the way over into the third base on deck circle to fix your gloves. Yeah, right there. Come on. Foot in the box. Didn't swing. Your gloves didn't come off. They didn't come loose. And, he may get the notification in the mail. Please send a check to MLB offices in New York. Thank you very much for stepping out of the box.
You're supposed to keep 1 foot in there after you just take a pitch like that. And now in terms of the money, first violation, you get a warning. And then each subsequent violation, the fine starts at $100 and goes up from there. So it would take a repeated pace of game offender 5 violations just to get up to the maximum fine, which is $500. Owens is there at second, and they get Puig out. 7 straight, all 7 in fact retired by Chafin. So if you get more than 5 violations, then Major League Baseball says it can and will impose discipline for just cause, regardless of previous penalties. So it's going to take a while, but what you just saw Puig do there is exactly what you're not supposed to do.
Right.
And so I hope that, James, explains what's going on there. We're still, of course, in the leniency phase in terms of these rules violations, but it's coming.
Yeah, and once again, it's kind of up to the umpire at this point. Some guys are a little more stickler for the game. Keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. Other guys may give you a little bit more leeway coming out of that batter's box, but the bottom line is we just want fans to watch baseball. We don't want fans to watch guys fixing their batting gloves.
Gonzalez up the first base line, fouls. Speaking of just fixing your batting gloves and doing all that, here's my guy Nomar. He was the king.
He had a routine that he had to follow after every pitch.
Yeah, he is great. He's great to talk to. I worked with him for years somewhere else on television, and he's here doing the game with Oral Hershiser and Charlie Steiner. Vin Scully does not make the trip out here anymore to Arizona. And so Oral and Nomar pick up those games on Dodgers TV. Gonzalez has been aboard all 3 times he's been up there. A single and 2 walks, 1 intentional. He's ahead here 2-1.
Hey, tonight's cold hard facts are brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. See the numbers for Adrian Gonzalez. Last season, his 116 RBI led the National League. This season, picking up right where he left off.
Guy can just flat out hit.
I was talking to Oral about Adrian Gonzalez before the ball game today, and he said in a roundabout, odd kind of a way, he thought the shoulder injury made Gonzalez an even better hitter than he was before the injury. You may remember when we talked about it, he said, I got no power. I'm not going to be a home run hitter anymore. Just going to spray the ball around.
Get him, Nick!
Aaron Hill smothers it and throws him out. The shift was on. Aaron Hill was over there almost by himself. And that's 8 up, 8 down against Andrew Chafin. Let's make that our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. There's Aaron Hill at third, playing shortstop.
About 4 steps to his left and a dive. We mentioned earlier Gonzalez does not run well at all. Aaron knew he had time to recover and fired a bullet to Goldie to get that out of first base.
Howie Kendrick. First pitch bounced to Goldie. Andrew Chafin. 3-1-2-3 innings. He retired all 9 he faced. Bottom 8 coming up. 3-3 at Chase Field.
Set for our post-game show, Diamondbacks Live, presented by CenturyLink. Brandon, we're going to talk about a lot already on the post-game show. We'll break down Chase Anderson's outing. You will do that. But how about Andrew Chafin? You've been very impressed by him.
Yeah, I tell you what. I mean, I like what I saw the first on opening day. He went 2 1/3 inning with 1 hit, no runs. Today, come in and shut him down for 3 innings with no hits and no runs. It did a great job. He pounds the strike zone, throws strikes, and gets ahead of the hitters and gets quick outs.
Game hanging in the balance right now, guys. We'll send it back to you, and we'll be here, of course, for D-Backs Live after the game.
Okay, guys, thanks very much. A.J. Pollock leads off the Arizona 8th. And how about Andrew Chafin? 9 up, 9 down. In fact, Bob, if you go back to Andrew's relief appearance on opening night here, Chafin has now retired the last 16 batters he's faced.
Boy, and Webby hit the nail right on the head. He just attacks the strike zone. He's not messing around. He's not nibbling, trying to hit corners. Here's my best stuff. See what you can do with it. And so far, it's been good enough for Andrew Chafin.
A.J. 1 for 3, singled and scored in the 3rd. Good man to have leading off against the Dodgers here in this ballpark. He's hit safely now in 6 straight versus L.A. But he's also the D-backs all-time leading hitter against the Dodgers here at Chase Field. And sure enough, he strikes out. Got a tweet, Bob, from Craig Anthony, who said, please have BB finish his Scioscia Dodger Stadium story. We got cut off there.
Let that slide away there. At the time, Mike Scioscia was a starting catcher for the Dodgers, and he liked the dirt behind home plate to be really, really firm. I mean, they would put clay in there before the game and then tamp it down until it was hard as it could possibly be. Now, most catchers like it a little bit softer. Take some of the pressure off your knees, but for whatever reason, Mike Scioscia liked it packed hard clay. And after a 3-game series at Dodger Stadium, I had ice bags on my knees for a week.
Like concrete. Inciarte lifts that to center. Peterson's capped out on the So Garcia's retired all 5 Diamondbacks he's faced, and with 2 outs, here's Goldie.
First baseman, Paul Goldschmidt.
The catchers have a say in that. They can, tailor the home plate area the way they want it.
Your home field, absolutely.
Did you have anything that you like to do?
No.
Well, what can you do with Candlestick?
Yeah, nothing. I mean, all the dirt's blown up into the stands by the 6th inning anyway.
You could request more hot dog wrappers down there.
Like a hard pan at a golf course, when the grass is burned off or enough golf carts have gone over an area and it's just really hard dirt. That was what Candlestick was like
hitting it on the cart path. Goldie, a 3-run homer in the 3rd. That's all the Diamondbacks scoring. A ball and a strike.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've been pretty impressed by Garcia in this ball game. The 2 starters struggled somewhat, but man, the 2 relievers that are coming out of the respective bullpens are throwing nothing but strikes.
Yeah, Garcia struck out 3 in a row after getting AJ, and then Ender flied out. And he's ahead of Goldie 1-2. This was Paul Goldschmidt back in the 3rd, his first of the year.
Got to Brett Anderson early before he established that breaking ball. Picked on a fastball up and out over the plate. Does what he does. Drove it out of here to the opposite field.
He has now reached base in the last 3 games, counting tonight 8 times. Up and in. He's got 5 hits and 3 walks in the last 3 games, including this one.
I don't know if you've been paying attention to Yasmani Grandal behind the plate since Garcia's come into the ball game. He has not missed his spot yet. Everywhere Grandal goes, that's exactly where Garcia puts the pitch.
Well, this Dodgers bullpen is a bit of a mess right now. If this guy steps up and performs like it looks like he can, that might really solidify things for Don Mattingly back there.
Trying to get in on Goldie with that fastball. Missed with that high one. Tried to come inside. Tried to come inside again. He pulls that foul down the 3rd baseline. Probably go away here. Yep.
No, he didn't. Ted Barrett. It's full 3-2.
After a series of fastballs up and in, comes back with that slider low and away. Strong hands by Goldie to be able to check right there.
Those hands are so quick too. So short and quick to the ball. 3-2 pitch. Base hit. I just kind of felt that one. Baseball is finally here and it's happening all around us, so grab a Pepsi and some friends and join us at a D-backs game. Live it. It's for the thrill of the game. Pepsi, live for now. Pepsi is the official soft drink of the Arizona Diamondbacks. This didn't look like J-Roll from up here was going to quite get to that one. He came up a few inches shy. Here's Trumbo. Singled his last time up, 1 for 3.
Yeah, 2 outs in the inning. This is where Goldie really looks to try to steal a base. If he thinks he can get out there far enough to get a jump and get himself into scoring position with 2 outs in the inning, yeah, he may try to steal the bag. Of course, the Dodgers are well aware that Paul Goldschmidt is sneaky quick on the bases.
Probably the Diamondbacks' best base runner. There's Dave McKay at first, who coaches the base runners here.
Ooh, good swing at that one. Fastball out over the plate and down.
Well, you're right. He has hit the glove spot on all night long. That was right to the target.
We saw a lot of high fastballs in that Giants series against Trumbo. There you go.
Chases it upstairs, and that's the strikeout. That's 4 for Garcia. And we go to the 9th inning in a tie ball game. Diamondbacks and Dodgers on Fox Sports Arizona. Our Gila River game summary. Diamondbacks took a 3-0 lead in the 3rd on Paul Goldschmidt's first home run of the year. Dodgers got one back in the 4th. Yasmani Grandal homered. Here's the Goldie homer, made it 3-0. Led off Brett Anderson. Grandal got one back, and then in the 5th, Jimmy Rollins, the 2-run double that tied it. And that's where we stand, 3-3 in the 9th. And here is the closer in a tie game. It's Addison Reed. This is the rule, right? Closer in the 9th inning, tie game at home.
Yeah, standard operating procedure because, if you score a run, you don't have a bottom of the 9th inning to save. So Addison Reed coming on here trying to save the tie for at least another inning, get his team back in that dugout with a chance to win the game in the bottom of the 9th.
He'll open up with the Yasmani Grandal, who hit a towering home run off Chase Anderson back in the 4th. That was Grandal's first hit of the season, and this was a no-doubter. This is his power side, the left-hand side. Can't be easy. In fact, Michael Brenly is trying this, trying to be a switch hitting catcher.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on there.
A lot going on. But it makes a lot of sense, especially for the youngsters out there that think they might want to be a switch hitter. You face a lot more right-handed pitching than you do lefties. So if you can learn to swing that bat from both sides of the plate, get yourself some more playing time. And maybe a big contract like Grandal. Some of us had enough trouble from one side of the plate. I can't imagine trying to switch hit. Some guys, it's a very natural thing, but other guys have to work very hard at it.
And Addison Reed will get the strikeout to open up the 9th. Fans follow the Arizona Diamondbacks all season long with the MLB.com At Bat app, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment, at any moment. With in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and a whole lot more. You can get the MLB.com At Bat app for your smartphone or your tablet. I have that on my phone, and it is a tremendous service. Carl Crawford 0 for 3. So Crawford's got a 10-game hit streak dating back to last year. He's hit safely in 6 straight here at Chase Field. Both those streaks on the line tonight. Peralta warms, the right-hander in the Dodger bullpen. Joel Peralta. On his first game as a Dodger and his first appearance with the club on Monday. Worked a scoreless 8th. Reed misses there. 2 balls and a strike to Crawford. His 14th season in the big leagues, Carl Crawford, his 3rd with Los Angeles. Played 105 games last year, hit 300. 2-2.
I'll tell you one thing, a huge improvement for Addison Reed over last season when it just didn't seem like he could consistently command that fastball. He made a lot of mistakes in the middle of the plate, gave up 11 home runs because of it. But so far in his abbreviated spring training and a couple outings during the regular season, his command appears to be much better with that fastball. Hitting corners. Tuffy moves away. He gets it out there.
Right to the glove, but it's a base hit into right center for Crawford. Go-ahead runs aboard with 1 out in the 9th.
Third baseman, Juan Uribe.
You see Tuffy wants that fastball down low and away. That's right where he put it. Carl Crawford just finds that big hole up the middle of the field with Chris Owings playing Crawford to pull. A lot of room up the middle of the field.
And the base stealing isn't quite what it was for Crawford. Not a big part of his game anymore. Doesn't mean he can't still run. But he's 33. He'll turn 34 in August as Uribe steps in. So we'll keep an eye on him down there.
Watch that first pitch to Uribe. He likes to get it started a little bit early. Try to hook that fastball to left field.
Crawford stole 23 times last year. That's the most he's had since 2010. He was battling a left ankle injury for most of last season, but he's got some big stolen base totals on the resume from his days with the Devil Rays. When they were the Devil Rays. Uribe singled and scored in the 5th.
And once again, that's by design. Addison Reed came to a set position, just held the ball out there on the mound. Chip Hale and his staff wanted to see if Carl Crawford might tip something over there at first base, maybe start leaning ever so slightly towards second, something that would give you an indication whether he's going to run or not.
Crawford holds. Reed misses. 1-0. A home run off Reed. When he hits a home run, you'll know it. He might be the king of the backflip these days. And a long pause by Addy at the belts.
That's another one that came from the bench. And Crawford, to his credit, or either that or he's not running. He just held his position over there at first base. No sign of getting jumpy or leaning towards second. Just held his secondary lead right there.
Just caught the bat apparently. 1-1.
Oh, tailing inside hard. The first time Addison's really missed his spot since coming into the ball game today, and got a good break that time. The ball hit the bat. Could be a pick at first base here.
He goes a wish, looking into the Diamondback dugout.
Glenn Sherlock, the bench coach, relaying the signs to Tuffy. Little finger, fastball away.
Crawford holds again at first. Uribe shoots it into right. Crawford will stop at second. Dodgers have 2 on and 1 out. And here's Peterson.
He's missed his spot a couple times in that sequence there to Juan Uribe. This time they want it down low and away. Watch the location of the pitch. Back on the inner third of the plate. And with Uribe kind of stepping in the bucket a little bit. That slashing ball through the right side of the infield. Puts runners at first and second.
Bullpen still quiet for Chip Hill. Jock Peterson singled and scored in the 5th. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Game 2 tomorrow, and that is a must-watch. Archie Bradley makes his long-anticipated Major League debut against Clayton Kershaw. Crawford, the runner at second, Uribe at first, 1 out, and here's Peterson. Pitcher spot is due up next. Andre Ethier is in the on-deck circle. Ball 1. He did not go, so Scott Barry down there at third. Driven to right. Trumbo has room. Crawford tags and heads for third. 2 down.
Dodger fans in attendance here at Chase Field tonight got a little excited when they saw that ball in the air to right field. It sounded like he may have gotten jammed just a little bit. Either broke his bat or just got it down near the trademark. The ball just didn't seem to carry as well as it might when it came off the bat. Trumbo able to get back to the track and make the catch.
Here comes Mike Harkey out to the mound. You've got the go-ahead run 90 feet away at third in Crawford. Uribe's at first, 2 outs, and Ethier will hit for the pitcher.
On his birthday, Andre Ethier celebrating his 33rd birthday today, a product of St. Mary's High School here in the Valley. Also went to Arizona State.
A career .323 hitter against the Diamondbacks. Ethier his 10th season in the major leagues, all with the Dodgers, which makes him the longest tenured Dodger on the big league club. And trying to find at bats. Well, they found a big spot for him here tonight. 2 on, 2 out, tie game in the 9th. Ball 1. He had a difficult season last year. Started only 79 games. It's just under .250, a career low, with only 4 home runs. First time in his big league career he didn't have at least double-digit home runs. Nice block by Tuffy. 2 balls and no strikes. There's a strike, 2 and 1. So Mel Stottlemyre Jr., the bullpen coach, on the phone. Some stirring down there. Brad Ziegler looks like he might be getting loose. Might have got a call here from Chris Conroy behind the plate.
Try to go right back out there again. If it worked once, you try it a second time, but that time the ball was maybe another inch off that outside corner, and this time they don't get the call from Chris Conroy.
Going back there again. On to first. Goldie's there. And Addison Reed gets out of it. Dodger strand, runners in the corners, and will go to the bottom of the 9th inning at Chase Field. Aaron Hill, Chris Owings, and Tuffy Gozawish. D-backs and Dodgers 3-3 in the 9th. is brought to you in part by Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz.
As we head to the bottom of the ninth, Jody Jackson and Brandon Webb, we're here for your post-game show, D-Backs Live, right after the game. And Brandon, all the hits tonight have come from that top of the order, mainly Paul Goldschmidt, but now it's going to be time for the bottom of the order to have their chance.
Exactly. They haven't done much tonight, and they hopefully will have an opportunity. We got Jensen out from the closing role right now with an injury, so this is their opportunity. Hope they can squeak one by.
Again, game one between these two teams of the season should be exciting. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Exciting finish either way here. Thank you, Webby and Jody. Here is the world's busiest reliever. It's the veteran Joel Peralta, leads all major league relief pitchers with 298 appearances since 2011, acquired from Tampa Bay last November. And he's on to work the ninth. Aaron Hill, Chris Owings, and Tuffy Gozawish 5, 6, and 7 for the D-backs, who have got to change the mojo against these guys from Hollywood. Diamondbacks have lost 5 straight versus LA, dating back to last August. Went 4-15 versus the Dodgers in the season series last year. It's time to turn that around right here in this inning. Big cut at that one, a ball and a strike.
Well, the familiarity helps you. The Diamondbacks have the right guy at the plate. Aaron Hill has 10 career at-bats against Peralta, by far the most on the team. Only Gerald Laird with 3 at-bats and Mark Trumbull with 6 have even faced Peralta in their career. So Aaron Hill's the right guy. 3 for 10 lifetime.
Well, if there's such a thing as a crafty righty, and I'm not sure there is, it's this guy. Just an absolute workhorse back there. And he's already been an effective part of this Dodger bullpen. Got a win on Monday and got a save on Wednesday. Aaron Hill lifts this in the air down the right field line, but it's out of play. Aaron able to hold off there, and it's full 3-2.
Saw the big curveball there from Peralta. Fastball, curveball, splitter combination. And he really mixes them up well. He throws his split finger as often as he throws. That is actually a splitter right there. I misidentified that as a curveball. A lot of downward movement.
Here's Owings on deck. Tuffy Gozawish behind him. Popped it up first base side. Gonzalez and Kendrick. It'll be Kendrick. One away.
Second baseman, Chris Owings.
Well, Chris Owings still looking for his first hit this season. 0 for 7 coming into the ball game tonight. 0 for 3, struck out his last time up. So a good time to get CO started right here. Looking for a base runner.
Yeah, this is something players never really think about, and certainly don't talk about it. It's more for us up here in the booth, where it's a lot easier.
Everything is up here.
Yeah. You'd like to steal this game if at all possible, because you know you're facing Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke the next 2 nights. If you can steal a win tonight here late in the ball game, you really have to feel pretty good about it.
Diamondbacks, of course, had one start last year where they knocked Kershaw around. That was a game coincidentally started by Chase Anderson. Remember that last year where Kershaw did not survive the second inning. So maybe we'll get a repeat of that tomorrow with Archie Bradley making his big league debut. 1 ball and 1 strike to Chris Owings. CO among Diamondbacks with at least 10 plate appearances against the Dodgers here at Chase Field. Second best batting average all time. 385 right behind A.J. Pollock. Took a big cut there and missed, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Reaches out and stays alive there. Chris always coming off that labrum injury in his left shoulder. June 20th last year, missed about 10 weeks. And that thing just nagged him throughout the second half of the season. Finally had to have surgery. And didn't start actually hitting until late spring training. There's the strikeout, 2 down.
Peralta looking good here tonight against the Diamondbacks and the 2 hitters he's faced. That has not been the story throughout his career. In 7 previous games, Diamondbacks were hitting .419 against Peralta. He carried an 18.47 ERA.
Well, ever since the 3-run home run by Paul Goldschmidt, with 1 out in the 3rd, the Diamondbacks have had just 2 hits. A Trumbo single in the 6th and the Goldie single in the 8th. Here's Tuffy. D-backs with 6 hits tonight, 5 of them singles. Tuffy's ahead 2-0. That's in the seats. When the going gets tough, we've got Tuffy. James Benjamin Gozowicz. Got the nickname Tuffy when he was about 6 months old. He was a very destructive infant. That's what his dad nicknamed him, and boy, that did stick. Been Tuffy his whole life. A few teachers in school, other than that, even his family members, call him Tuffy. He was apparently, as a kid, indestructible. He would break out of his crib, fall downstairs, smash things. Nothing fazed him.
A natural catcher.
Exactly.
Born to catch.
The pride of Horizon High School here in Scottsdale, and an Arizona State product. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two strikeouts in the inning for Peralta, and we've got extra innings at Chase Field. Diamondbacks and Dodgers will go to the 10th, tied at 3. Sports 1 with a doubleheader. The Red Sox take on the Yankees in the Bronx, followed by a playoff rematch as the Royals battle Mike Trout and the Angels. Coverage begins Saturday, 9:30 a.m. on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. We go to the 10th at Chase Field. Extra innings 3-3. D-backs and Dodgers, first of the 3-game set. And the fourth Diamondback pitcher tonight, the left-hander, Oliver Perez. And boy, this Diamondback bullpen, Bob, so far this year, 16 2/3 innings of work by D-backs relievers. They've given up only 2 earned runs.
And they've really gotten the job done, and it's been needed in the early going because the starters just can't seem to get deep into the ball game. You can't have one, you need the other, that's for sure. You need that bullpen to step up and eat up those innings, keep you in the game.
Well, Ollie pitched Wednesday, the series finale against the Giants. He appeared Monday in the opener as well. Only threw 11 pitches in that ball game. He'll work to the top of the order. Rollins, Puig, Gonzalez 1, 2, and 3 in the LA 10th. Jimmy Rollins, a 2-run double in the 5th. He is 1 for 4. Diamondbacks had a 3-0 lead on Goldie's first homer of the year. Dodgers got one back on a Grandal homer in the 4th, and Rollins the 2-run double in the 5th. 3-3.
Jimmy Rollins, like a lot of switch hitters, completely different. He's a very good low ball hitter from the left side of the plate, a very good high ball hitter from the right side of the plate. Good numbers against Ollie Perez in his career.
Chip Hale said the coaches felt like Oliver Perez maybe threw too much last year, so they're hoping at the age of 33, he'll be 34 in August, that they can back him off a bit and just face certain hitters, maybe cap him at 1 inning per appearance at most. Used to give him more than that last year. There's a big swing and a miss, 2-2. There was a definite pattern in the numbers that suggest Ollie was getting tired as last year wore on, and he said he was tired after last season. In fact, he took the offseason off, did not pitch winter ball, something he usually does. He said, you know, look, I'm not 21 anymore. So he just rested until December. There's a little flare out to left field for Ender Inciarte. So Ollie is in agreement that this year shorter appearances would be better. No more than 1 inning at a time rather than multiple innings like we saw last year. Here's Puig. Can you tell? He is 0 for 4 and 1 for 16 to start the year. He has struck out twice tonight, and he struck out 6 times in those 16 at bats. And judging by what we've seen in the ball game, and we're seeing it right here again, the old pace of play warning letter is in the mail. He is stepping out after almost every pitch, regardless of any of the exceptions to the new rule. Lines it to center. AJ on the run, and he does not get it. Puig will stop it first. Took a big turn. You saw second base umpire Angel Hernandez run out there and rule that a base hit.
Great effort by AJ to get to the spot, and then a little bit of acting here as he comes up with his glove in the air, trying to fool the umpire into thinking he caught it in the air. But good for AJ also to realize who the base runner was. Yasiel Puig. He runs hard out of the box. Sometimes he forgets to stop at first base on a base hit. AJ realized that quickly, got to his feet and got the ball back into second base to hold him to a single.
You have to think, Bob, that the last couple of years Puig would likely have been running full speed ahead and have tried to make it into second base and would have been thrown out. Well, he wanted the catch ruling, but that was a clean hit as we saw there. So a 1-out base runner for Gonzalez. singled in the first, walked in the fourth, was walked intentionally in the fifth. He grounded out his last time up. 1 for 2 and 11 for 15 to begin the season. Goldie, 3, 6, 3. They roll it. More Diamondback defense. Paul Goldschmidt, America's first baseman. And the Diamondbacks turn a big double play. Well, it's time to bring it home, D-backs, and beat those Dodgers. 3-3 bottom 10, a chance to win the ball game here and find a reversal of fortune against these guys from L.A. Diamondbacks trying to snap a 5-game losing streak versus the Dodgers dating back to last August. And they'll face a new pitcher out there in the home half of the 10th. It's the veteran J.P. Howell. His third year with the Dodgers. Scoreless relief last season in 59 of his 68 appearances, but he did not have a great spring. 7 2/3 innings of work. He gave up 7 earned runs. Both these teams had off days yesterday, so an extended bullpen battle is not at crisis levels yet. But we're creeping along here. Howell and, well, Howell is the 4th Dodger pitcher used tonight. Diamondbacks have used 4 as well. Nick Ahmed leads off the Arizona 10th. Pitcher spot is due up next, and Cliff Pennington is in the on-deck circle. So Ahmed, Pennington, Pollock, 8, 9, and 1. Nick so far 0 for 3, struck out his last time up. Brad Ziegler. If we go to an 11th inning. Juno.
It's not always easy to figure out what Don Mattingly is doing with his Dodger bullpen, but I think the fact that J.P. Howell is in this game right now shows you the respect that Don has for David Peralta and Jake Lamb, the 2 left-handed hitters available on the bench for the Diamondbacks. Got the pitcher spot up next. It's not inconceivable that Chip Hale might have hit for Nick Ahmed if it was a right-handed pitcher on the mound right here. So instead, it's the lefty.
Rollins at short. And so Pennington, the switch hitter, will bat right-handed against the lefty Howell.
Inches for Oliver Perez, number 4, Blake Covington.
Hatcher, the right-hander, warming for the Dodgers. Got his first career save Monday in his Dodger debut. Pennington hits for the pitcher. There's a strike, 0-1. D-backs trying to get this offense going. Just 2 hits since the Goldschmidt homer in the 3rd. Both those hits are singles. LA has out-hit Arizona 8-6. He did not go, says Ted Barrett down at first base. A ball and a strike.
That's the best secondary pitch for JP Howell. That big curveball. His fastball tops out in the mid to upper 80s, but he has a pretty good breaking pitch. He'll drop it in there from time to time.
Cliff Pennington handled himself pretty well from the right-hand side of the plate last year. Hit .265 as a righty last season. But that was about 25 points over his career average from the right side. He's ahead in the count, 2-1. Three balls and a strike. Baxter with the Christmas outfit on. Nice gift. Diamondback win here. With Pollock on deck, Kershaw goes tomorrow. Greinke Sunday. This is a big one here. Diamondbacks have the base runner. Winning runs aboard with 1 out. And here comes A.J. Pollock, the Diamondbacks' all-time leading hitter against the Dodgers here at Chase Field. A career batting average coming into tonight of .415 in this ballpark versus Los Angeles. He is 1 for 4 tonight. He singled and scored in the 3rd. Came in on the Goldie homer.
And part of the reason for that lofty batting average against the Dodgers is 2 for 2 lifetime against J.P. Howell with a double.
I like the math here.
Some fastball tops out in the mid 80s. He does have some sink on it. He really turns that ball over, gets some down and away action to those right-handed hitters, and that time AJ probably chased a pitch out of the zone.
He's hit safely in 13 of 17 games against the Dodgers in this ballpark. Winning run at first, 1 out in the 10th.
With that tailing, sinking action on that fastball and the hole that is presented to A.J. Pollock on that right side of the infield. Let's see him shoot one through there, put Diamondbacks on the corners for Ender Inciarte.
Well, there's a lot of room over there. A.J. had a walk-off last year that beat the Padres. That was about 4 or 5 days before he got hit with that Cueto fastball that broke his hand. 1-1 pitch. That one kicks away from Grandal, and Pennington will move up and roll to the backstop. Cliff thinks about 3rd, but he'll stop there. That was a big league hop toward the LA dugout. And now the winning run is in scoring position.
That big curveball, it's right in front of Grandal, but because of the rotation on that pitch, it skips farther to his right than he anticipated, all the way over into that on-deck circle. Cliff had thoughts about going on to 3rd base, but Grandal got to the ball in pretty good shape, was ready to throw if necessary.
You can see Baxter in the background there. He puts on a new outfit every inning during extra innings for good luck. And he's got his Christmas outfit on. So hopefully there's a win under the tree here for the Diamondbacks. 2-1 to AJ. Pennington the winning run in scoring position. Three balls and a strike. Inciarte on deck.
We've seen a lot of Jock Peterson in center field for the Dodgers, but we're told he has an above-average arm. We know Yasiel Puig has an arm that's off the charts in right field. Carl Crawford is the guy, however, in left. Any ball hit to left field, I think you're going to see Andy Green waving Pennington on home.
Well, Crawford does not have a good arm out there. Here's Andy Green, the new third base coach. Last year, the manager at AA Mobile. Three and one to AJ Pollock. There goes Pennington for third. Ball four. Winning runs at third with 1 out. And here comes Ender.
Left fielder, Ender Inciarte.
Slow to home plate. Penny picked a good pitch to run on. Another breaking ball in the dirt for ball 4 to AJ Pollock. But he needs a fly ball to the outfield. The Dodgers will have to bring their outfielders in very, very shallow for Inciarte. Obviously playing the infield in as well.
And we talked at the beginning of the ball game with Brett Anderson, the lefty, starting for LA. Hold on, here comes Don Mattingly. We talked about Ender's approach against left-hand pitchers and his ability to slap it the other way into left by letting the ball travel deep. See what Mattingly wants to do here. He's calling in Angel Hernandez, the second baseman.
I think he wants to call in one of his outfielders.
Bring in Puig,
a 5-man infield possibly.
Well, we see Yasiel Puig may be playing the infield. This is something that Joe Madden used to do a lot of in Tampa Bay. When you're trying to cut down the winning run at home like this. So they'll play with 2 outfielders and 5 infielders.
I think that's what they're doing. I mean, it's not uncommon in this situation for teams to bring an outfielder in, somebody that's taken ground balls possibly from time to time, or as a background of playing some infield, you bring that guy in and overload that infield.
Are they worried perhaps about Ender just dropping one down or slapping a little roller the other way?
I'm sure that is part of the thought process for the Dodgers. Looks like a team meeting on that infield.
Puig will play third base, and Uribe will move to the shortstop spot. Rollins near the bag in his shortstop position. Kendrick and Gonzalez on the right side, and everyone in on the edge of the grass. Winning run at third. That's Cliff Pennington down there. 1 out. Here's Ender Inciarte. Singled and scored in the third. He's 1 for 4. 5-man infield for the Dodgers. 1 out. Ball game. Diamondbacks win it. Ender Inciarte walks it off. First career walk-off hit for Ender Inciarte, and it comes at the perfect time as the Diamondbacks snap a 5-game losing streak versus these Dodgers.
We said a few moments ago this will be a great one to steal with the 2 starting pitchers. The Dodgers are going to run out there the next couple nights. Big win for the Diamondbacks here tonight.
And once again, we look to the Diamondback bullpen. So far this season, 17 2/3 innings, just 2 earned runs allowed. And tonight, it was Chafin who retired all 9 he faced in 3 innings of work. Addison Reed in the 9th, Perez in the 10th, and Ender wins it home half.
Boy, got a sinking fastball up over the inside part of the plate that didn't sink and drove it right past Adrian Gonzalez in that drawn-in infield, setting off a celebration here at Chase.
And the D-backs, who went 4-15 versus Los Angeles in the season series last year, win the first meeting between these two this season. And let's go downstairs. Kate is with tonight's hero, Ender Inciarte.
Thanks, guys. Well, congratulations coming up with the big walk-off win right here. Take me through that final at bat.
I was just looking for something up in the zone that I can hit a line drive or a fly ball, because he's got a good sinker, but I hit it hard and got to the line, so I'm glad we got the win.
Chip Hale likes to play the matchups. What pride do you take in having success against lefties?
Well, I'm glad he trusted me. He gave me the confidence to hit lefty, and I got a good result. The good thing is that we won tonight.
I like how they do it in Arizona, gum showers, huh? Well, how big is this victory in setting the tone for the rest of the series?
It's big. We got to do this for the fans. They always come cheer for us, so it's good to have a good start. And we're promising a good season for them, and we're going to make it far.
And before the game, you and I talked about how you wanted to bring the home field advantage back to the Diamondbacks against the series against LA. How were you guys able to go out there and do that tonight?
It's like Chip said, we got to go one game at a time, so we won tonight, and we got to bring it for tomorrow and win another one.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go now back up to you guys.
Ender Inciarte, they are partying in Venezuela and all over the valley here tonight as the Diamondbacks, their first game of the year, Bob, against these Dodgers. Good time to put up a W.
Absolutely. I mean, the Dodgers have had their way, especially here at Chase Field. That's something the Diamondbacks wanted to reverse as quickly as possible. No better time than tonight.
And there is the celebration. Ender took it almost all the way out to center field. And the Diamondbacks get the win 4-3 in 10 innings. Perez wins it. Howell loses it in just over 3 hours. Let's get the celebration underway. Diamondbacks live post-game show. Brandon Webb is with Jody Jackson. Jody.
All right, thanks so much, Steve. A lot for us to break down during our post-game show coming up. But Brandon, I know you being a pitcher, the pitching staff tonight got it done in a little bit of an unconventional way, but the long reliever Chafin and then hitting it off through that bullpen, it really worked out for the D-backs tonight.
It did. You know, it was kind of slow developing. You know, it was just basically one inning where they gave up the runs. Chase was able to go 5, but the bullpen came in and shut him down.
All right, so we will look at the way this pitching staff really hung in there. We'll look at the heroics from Ender Inciarte and also Paul Goldschmidt. Can't forget him. Behind the pitching staff, though, as well tonight, a lot of very good Diamondback defense. We'll break that down with Brandon, with Bob Brenly, more from Kate Longworth. It's all coming your way on Diamondbacks Live. It is brought to you by CenturyLink, and it comes your way next here on Fox Sports Arizona.